really good presentation, Dylan. You know, you always present yourself very well, present your idea very well. Beautiful drawings, beautiful model. It's very easy to understand. And it's good to see that the project has got some meat. But it's actually got yeah, it's sort of become more substantial from the first semester. Where it was, you know, it's amazingly ambitious, isn't it? And this is still yeah, okay.
But the idea is a strategy for anywhere now.
Yeah, I think the only debate I would sort of have, and I don't take away from any of its energy and its ambition, you know, I think that's great. But, you know, grain stores are sort of near harbours. All grain comes there and then it goes on a ship and or something. Or it's at the place where big wheat fields are and so on. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of something which is incongruous about that. You might debate that.
Yeah, well, the parklands and the site is utilised as wheat and grain and nuts, and then what they do is they store them in the two remaining silos for future use for new plantations, and they get wheat, and they can use the grain throughout to actually market to the public. Yeah. So that was the intention, that the parklands and all of that get taken for the large scale crops, and then within the plantation nursery, within the community garden beds, and within the shopping centre, they produce the fruit and they produce the vegetables. So there's a mixture between large scale and small scale, and the education hub informs people on that small scale, but then they can look out and see the large scale crops being grown and see people working in the fields, which...
Yeah, there's no scope to fill those.
With the size you was talking about.
Yeah, but that's... so not all full of grain, but there's other things inside them.
Yeah.
Sorry, just in that photo. Yeah, okay. But look, you know, the symbol of what you're trying to do is wonderful. It's the city farm. You know, the way that works inside a city, I think you've picked up on. I almost like the plant life becoming artwork, which is that movement between something which is just practical and outside to something which is the symbol of it.
Yeah.
So, look, I think there's some wonderful things, and as I said, I really enjoy just the power and strength that comes out of your ideas.
Thank you very much.
Well, just being a gardener, but not at this scale, there's always a lot of muck around gardening, you know, like where you deal with building up compost, and where you deal with when you cut down all the branches and all of that kind of thing, and how you get your wheelbarrow and hosing and watering and all of that, the whole reality of city farms. And we've got a great one in Brisbane, you probably have good ones here as well, but half of the garden is actually given over to that, it seems to me, just dealing with vegetable gardens, and herbs need a lot more light than I could see, and you know, and to make it come beyond the symbol, it's almost, you've got to be able to feed in the realities of what it takes to do it, and it becomes more interesting as a result. So maybe it's there in the scheme, but what you've shown, I'm sitting here fresh to the whole thing. I've never seen it before. I love community gardens, and they bring people together, and we've got one that's totally fenced now because the government want to get the state or the city wants to get rid of it, and there's going to be a battle because they want it for car parking for the hospital. So they've come up with something that has got polluted soil, so they're hoping that people will get, you know, the community would lose interest, but it's really problematic. But it isn't tidy, and so unless you're going to have a council run thing, in which case it enters the tidy town competition, you know. But a real community garden isn't tidy because it's run on a shoestring, and everyone's got to get in there, and you do have all of this work in progress. And so I think some of the images, if they could capture some of that, you'd probably see that you need to build in other things into the scheme, unless they're already there and I can't see them.
Yeah.
But as a concept, and as what ought to be happening, this is just one of one of the really important kind of projects that should go underway. I'm very much for it.
Dylan, you've sort of found a path and found an answer. You know, you started with a bit of a struggle there in the beginning, didn't you? And you've not only found an answer, you've found multiple answers that are servicing one purpose, which is this whole ethic of production of food and goodness and community. You said food and community. I think that's two great things to put together, food and community. And you've almost made it elemental. That is, you know, there's the gardens in the car park, there's the education room, you know, there's the storage, you know, and there's production. And it's, I mean, in that sense, it's really good. And it's a vision for people.
It is.
The question is, how do we get people to do it? Because what you didn't show in most of your images is the person with the gloves and the little, fork maintaining gardens. And we've just put a veggie garden in and an orchard. And I'm surprised how much maintenance they require.
Yeah.
You know, the veggie garden with strawberries and oregano and, you know, every day, twice a day.
Yeah.
The orchard once every 2 to 3 days in terms of watering and just taking bugs off.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a really good sort of setup for the community who are going to use it to keep them there, like a beautiful room where you can have lunch.
Yeah.
You know, the community can have lunch, for instance, the lunch room, those sorts of things. And I think it's that bridge between the idea and the actuality which is really, really important. Eventually these things will come back. Did I ever tell you about Cuba, about Havana? In Havana, when the States took away trading and that with Cuba, in order to survive, Castro set up community gardens in every community. There was a garden in every suburb that the community looked after and supplied their own food. And you know what's happened to those gardens since tourism started? They've all disappeared because people now get income from tourists. They have house accommodation and they don't need the gardens anymore because they can go to a supermarket.
Yeah.
So there's this whole sort of twisting or distortion that goes on as soon as money comes into a community.
Yeah.
But Cuba is a really good lesson because when you're isolated, you have to produce your own food. I suspect that'll happen one day. But how do you prompt a community to produce its own food? I mean, that's a really important question for your project. Having said all that, I think the way you've gone about it, the thought that you put into it, I mean, I could make comments about the boxes and I make comments about how much gear you got on site with theoretes and all that sort of stuff, but I think in principle it's bloody fantastic.
Thank you.
Andrew? Yeah, no, oh, sorry. I thought you were...
No, not at all. It's nice to know that I'm just fading in this crowd.
Sorry.
No, not at all.
You must have some food.
Yeah,
Oh, I
you did,
do,
you
yeah.
did, you did, yeah. Have waters.
Hmm?
To have waters.
Yeah, I've got little to say. I haven't had anything to say yet.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, you did have something to say.
You did have
A
something
little
to
bit.
say. Yeah, you did.
Come on, quickly, Rick.
Well, anyway, what I'm deeply touched about, Dylan, is the fact that the groundwork that your parents set for you when you were a child has carried right through your still young life. And I know you had like family responsibilities and everything as a young oh, he's a real farmer, isn't he? So, so it's passed right through and will continue to do so through your young life. And so their education to you has gone now through your architecture and now it's into the community. You're going to be a leader, which is wonderful because that's what we're needing at the moment in a whole lot of different directions in this country. And it just gives me great pleasure to see you do something so clearly, and the key thing is that you engender respect. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that fantastic work. Just kept on polishing the idea, sort of sit apart from all these fantastic comments. Just beautiful imagery, every plan, it's all very kind of holistic. The way you script out, the way that you present. At university, we're often all about sort of the ideas and keeping it critical and keeping the subjective out. And you're about to move into a world where storytelling and presenting yourself will make things happen in great projects, and not so a lot of that's not really learned throughout. Dealing in the world of clients and things like this. I think that'll be a skill that will really flourish as you develop your career beyond the university as well. So yeah, fantastic. But, pleasure to work with you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you.